And for Off the Block, I'm Van Lopes, and we are now joined by the Princeton men's volleyball head coach, Sam Shweisky. And Sam, it's been a pretty wild summer for a lot of college men's volleyball teams this offseason. What has this summer been like for you guys up in Princeton?
Yeah, well, for me, it's been pretty busy. I started off in June. I was up in Lake Placid training with the men's junior national team. And Junior Obo was one of the Princeton guys that was able to be part of that training squad. And trained there for about 2 weeks under head coach Dan Friend, and Jay Hoslick from Penn State was the other assistant with me. And it was great. And we cut the team down to 12 and headed off to Canada to compete in the Under-21 Pan American Cup, which is a really good experience. We got to avenge our loss from the previous year to Canada and beat them in the semifinals, and then ended up losing to Brazil in the finals. But it was a great event. Qualified us for the World Championships, which we'll head to Mexico in September. And so we're pretty excited about that. So that was the first part of my summer with USA, and then the second part, I just came back from Des Moines. I was in Iowa for the High Performance Championship, and got to lead the group of boys youth A1, which really talented group of guys and an amazing staff. Had Pete Hansen from Ohio State, Gary Sato, who just signed on it. USC had Matt McCarthy from Lewis, had Nikki Samlin from McKendree, Danica Kinkovich from NJIT, Pat Schwarn from Juniata, Kevin Moore from Loyola. It was just a really good staff. So just excited to be a part of that. And now back here for some Princeton volley camps, and then soon women's season starts.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about some of your USA volleyball opportunities, and just jumping back to your time with the U.S. men's junior national team. Getting to have Junior Obo in the gym. What does that experience do for a player, especially junior? Just kind of getting that opportunity to compete in the summer with some high level players.
Yeah, I'm really thankful to USA Volleyball on so many levels. And I think the experience for a player is very similar as it is for a coach. To be in an environment to wear, the United States jersey on the back of your shirt is just really a prideful thing, and to be in that environment with such high-level players, it just makes you better, and it exposes you to better volleyball. So, yeah, for junior it was great to train against Andy Benish from USC and Jeff Jendrick from Loyola and from Matt Walsh from Ball State, just some really high-caliber middles that were in the mix there. It was just a great opportunity for him. And then to be coached by Dan Friend and Jay Hoslick, a great opportunity to be coached by some different guys with some different styles and different ways of looking at things. And I know Junior grew tremendously. I saw it in the 2 weeks he was there, and I'm excited to see what he brings back to our gym. And the same thing for myself, to get to work with such high-caliber coaches and great players. You come back kind of revitalized, re-energized, with some new ideas, some new thoughts about how to look at the game. And no, it's great. USA Volleyball is really a fantastic job of growing players and coaches across the whole pipeline.
Yeah. Well, and talking about that pipeline, you mentioned your opportunity to work with some of the younger players. I know we can't get into specific players and everything with recruiting, but I'd just love to get your thoughts. As a college coach, when you're at these events, what are some of the things that you're trying to teach them, and what are some of the things you're maybe looking for in potential recruits?
Well, it's a good question. I think we all teach the USA system, which is pretty simple because a lot of the stuff has been streamlined, over the years, and so a lot of the techniques in men's volleyball and the tactics are very similar. But we're trying to, the things we're looking for hard work. We're looking for guys that can adapt, that can adapt and change to new environments and play with different players. And can you adapt to a new setter and run a new system or try something you're not comfortable with? Certainly with the younger age guys, sometimes they're changing positions, and how fast can they adapt? Can a middle turn into an outside or vice versa, and how flexible are they? And just seeing them in a different environment, and then in a competitive environment, in some of the camps it's more training, but in the High Performance Championships, it's international competition. I mean, you compete, Canada was there, and our youth national boys teams were there, and so, how do they perform under pressure when it matters, when there's something on the line, when there's a medal on the line? And so getting to see those guys in those competitive environments really tells a lot, and getting to work with them personally tells you a lot more than watching them at JOs. Are they able to hear feedback and implement a game plan and all that kind of stuff? And like you said, it's kind of a everyone's there for USA Volleyball, but at the same time, they know where you coach and you know where they play, and so you're promoting your brand of volleyball through USA Volleyball at the same time. So it's a win-win because as the best college coaches are involved, USA Volleyball has a great brand to promote, and all the kids want to be a part of it. And as all the great players come to be a part of it, the coaches want to stay involved. So it's a really sort of self-serving enterprise where both it's very symbiotic, where both sides get a lot out of it.
Yeah. And, I know one of the interesting things every summer for a college coach is trying to come up with their schedule for next year. And I know, just talking to you, I know this is something that you've been working on, and there's still some dates that have to be ironed out. But are there any confirmed non-conference matches that you guys have scheduled for 2016 that you're excited about?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, a couple things are still in the works that are not confirmed. But, yeah, we've got the confirmed ones. Ohio State is coming in, which we're really excited about. Early January, they're coming in, so that's going to be fun to play them. Always, one of the top schools in the MIVA and one of the top schools in the country. We've got Laval, the team from Canada, coming in, so that's exciting. We've never played them before. They're going to come in and do a doubleheader with us. We go out to California, and we've got UCLA and UC San Diego on the hook there, and hopefully one other. McKendree's coming in, which should be great. And then spring break, we head to Lewis and Loyola. So, the top two teams from last year and the defending national champs. So that'll be a fun Chicago trip. We have a bunch of Chicago guys, so it'll be fun to get back there. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really good season. Schedule in terms of the the non-conference, because it's certainly packed with some great opponents and some variety too across different conferences. So we're looking forward to it.
Right, and talking about your team coming back in 2016, obviously you have a big piece to replace offensively in Cody Kessel, but what are you expecting from your team in 2016?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting year. Cody obviously, was a huge part of the offense, and then Will was a huge part of our middle blocking defense, and Tony Ensbury really ran the passing and the defense. So, the three of those guys were 3-4 year starters, and so to lose that chunk, not just on the court, but just in terms of the culture that we had established, it's going to be an adjustment period. And I think, some of the upperclassmen, Devin Stearns and Mike Begnell, Junior Obo, Chris Kennedy, a couple of those guys, we met sort of at the end of last year and started to put together this kind of leadership council that's going to have to fill this void and sort of acclimate these new guys pretty quick to a system that, was really run by these previous seniors. So we're excited. We've got some really exciting freshmen coming in, with some pretty high accolades and some high talent, and we're excited to see how they can adapt to the college game and see what we can do. It's going to be an interesting year. George Mason returns a lot, and with Fred Shaw stepping down after 17 years, it's going to be really interesting because he was that program. There was so much of that program that was just followed his his energy and his vision. So it's going to be interesting who takes that job and what they do, because they've got a really good class of guys that I think only graduated one senior last year. So it'll be interesting. Us, Harvard, and Penn State definitely lost some key players, but everyone sort of reloads and retools, and JIT's getting better. So it's going to be really interesting how it all plays out. But there's going to be I think a bunch of teams in the mix.
Yeah. And final question for me, Coach. One of the things that always amazes me about your team and Harvard is just what some of these players are able to do off the court, especially in the summer with internships and stuff. Are there any players on your team doing anything really cool this summer in terms of just off the court as they pursue careers beyond volleyball?
It's a good question. I think a bunch of our guys, certainly the underclassmen this year, a bunch of them have gone. I don't know that it's that interesting, but a lot of them are just into, Wall Street and, investment banking and that kind of thing. So I don't know that it's how fascinating or how much they're saving the world, but they certainly are putting in some long hours and doing a lot of stuff behind some desks. But Cody would be, the most exciting from a post-college volleyball standpoint. He spent a few weeks in Korea with Dave Niffen in the World University Games and really enjoyed that experience. It was a great opportunity. He said it was just so cool to play with, such great players that represent USA and to be a part of it. And I think he's actually trying out in the next few weeks for one of the USA Pan American teams or something that goes on up in I think it's in Reno. We're hosting some event. But then he's off to Switzerland. He signed his pro deal and he heads to Switzerland to play. And he's just really excited to continue his career and keep playing volleyball. So, it's interesting. Some of the guys, obviously, they take their Princeton degree and they go into investments or they go into engineering or whatever their passion is. And some guys, it's volleyball first, and they've got that degree kind of in their back pocket. But either way, it's nice to have options.